How is everybody doing? This is L.A.KENDRICK with another topic from the vault of Would You Dare. Y'all know how we get down. Y'all know how we do it. We've already gone over this story maybe once before, but each time we do, somebody try to knock us out the paint. We're down there posting up. Next thing you know, the viewership goes down, right? I don't know what it is about the topic when we start talking about UFOs and aliens and things like that. And we're just doing this, not say tongue in cheek, but with a grain of salt and an open mind. Just trying to talk and make sure that my fans have something to talk about, brainstorm with me, share these thoughts, and we do this live, raw, and unedited, okay? So, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have heard about this story. It's about Dwight Eisenhower and the alien ambassadors. I don't know if you guys have heard of this story, but I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Try to make it as quick as I can possibly do it, okay? The party don't start till you walk in, and now that you're here, let's begin. This is from the Washington Post, and it's dated February 19, 2004. Y'all know we just pull stuff up and we just go at it. 50 years ago tomorrow, on February 20th, 1954, President Dwight Eisenhower interrupted his vacation in Palm Springs, California to make a secret nocturnal trip to a nearby Air Force base to meet two extraterrestrial aliens. Or maybe not. Maybe Ike just went to the dentist. There's some dispute about this. The Ike met with ET's theories is advanced by Michael Salla, a former American university professor who now runs the Peace Ambassador Program at UA's Center for Global Peace. The Ike went to the dentist theory is advanced by the folks at the Dwight D. Eisenhower Library in Abilene, Kansas, and by James M. Mixon, a dentist professor of dentistry and historian of presidential dental work. Just to make things more intriguing, on the night in question, the Associated Press reports this. President Eisenhower died tonight of a heart attack in Palm Springs. 2 minutes later, the AP retracted that bulletin and reported that Ike was still alive. Indeed, Ike was alive. And he continued living until 1969. But the decade since his death, his activities on the night of February 20th, 1954, have become fodder for strange theories about alien beings. Some of the facts are beyond dispute. Eisenhower was on a golf vacation in Palm Springs on February 20th, 1954. After dinner that night, he made an unscheduled departure from the Smoking Tree Ranch where he was staying. The next morning, he attended a church service in Los Angeles that morning. His spokesperson announced to the press that Ike had visited a dentist the previous night because he had chipped a tooth while eating a chicken wing at dinner. I don't know who cooked those wings. Salla, S-A-L-L-A, who has a PhD in government from the University of Queensland in his native Australia, doesn't believe it. He figures the dentist trip was just a cover story. He believes Ike went to Edwards Air Force Base where he met with two ETs with white hair, pale blue eyes, and colorless lips. These aliens, nicknamed Nordics in the UFO circles because they resemble Scandinavian humans, traveled to Edwards Base from another solar system in a flying saucer. And Salla says they spoke to Eisenhower. There was a telepathic communication, says Salla, 45, as he sits in his suburban Falls church living room. It is as though you're hearing a person, but they're not speaking. The Nordics offered to share their superior technology and their spiritual wisdom with Ike if he would agree to eliminate America's nuclear weapons. They were afraid we might blow up some of our nuclear technology. Salla says, and apparently that does something to time and space, and it impacts extraterrestrial races on other planets. It's pretty impressive. Ike declined ET's offer, Salla said, because he did not want to give up the nukes. Sometime later in 1954, Ike reached a deal with another race of extraterrestrial known as the Greys, allowing them to capture earthling, cattle, and humans for medical experiments, provided they return the humans safely home. Since then, Salla says, the Greys have kidnapped millions of humans. You guys know about the abductions, you've heard about them. Salla, the author of The Hero's Journey Towards a Second American Century, published his ET theories in his new book, Exopolitics, Political Implications of Extraterrestrial Presence, and in an article on his Exopolitics website. For much of the 1990s, Salas studied conflict resolution and tried unsuccessfully to apply that knowledge to prevent war in East Timor and the Balkans, he said. Frustrated, he began looking for extraterrestrial connection to human misery, and he says he found evidence of ET visitations, including the Ike encounter on the internet. There's a lot of stuff on the internet, he says, and I just went around and pieced it together. Meanwhile, he taught at the School of International Service at American University in 2003, found the university's Peace Ambassador program described on the AU website as a summer program that combines study, meditative practices, and prayer ceremonies at selected Washington, D.C. sites aimed at promoting individual self-empowerment and divine governance in Washington, D.C. Salas stressed that his ET research is not connected with his work at the AU Center for Global Peace. The folks at the Center for Global Peace are quite eager to stress that fact. The research that Michael Salla is doing is not research that he's conducting on behalf of the Center or in collaboration with the Center, says Barry Sitka, Associated Director of the Center for Global Peace. This is his own personal research, they said. Again, everybody keep an open mind. Meanwhile, the question remains, did Ike really meet with ETs 50 years ago? Now, not to our knowledge, says Jim Leyerzapf, Leyerzapf, an archivist at the Eisenhower Library. There's nothing in the archives that indicates that. Then he burst out laughing. He's heard this story before. We've had so many requests on this, we should have a person who specializes in this. And that person is Herb Pancrax. And they decided to add UFOs to that. He does trains, planes, automobiles, and flying saucers. The library fielded dozens of questions about the alleged Ike ET meeting in the late 80s and early 90s when several UFO books advanced the theory. It goes on to say, initially the accounts claimed that the president made a secret trip to Edwards Air Force Base to view the remains of aliens who had crashed at Roswell, New Mexico in 1947. Later stories claim he had actually visited with live aliens. This Pancras guy doesn't buy either story. He believes this is a dentist story, and he cites James Mixon, the publisher of the dentist publication. That guy published it in somebody published it in, let me see, yeah. It's talking about Eisenhower's oral health. It was published in November 1995, issue of the Bulletin of the History of Dentistry. His definitive work on Ike's teeth. Citing the U.S. Surgeon General's records on Ike's medical and dental history, open to the researchers in 1995, Mixon reported that on that fateful night of February 20th, 1954, Ike chipped a porcelain cap of his upper central incisor and was repaired by Dr. Francis A. Purcell. So because there's no, Purcell was the only person that could actually answer the question, but he died in 1974, according to Pancratz. And the lack of a dental record from Purcell's office, Mixon wrote, has helped fuel belief in this UFO encounter. So I'm going to stop here. Let me see if anything else is interesting that we might want to cover. Ike never made any public statement about ETs, Pancras said, but he did perhaps spill the beans to his family, like son John S. D. Eisenhower is a retired Army Brigadier General and author of several books on history, including General Ike, A Personal Reminiscence. I'm gonna stop it right there. Now, this is the thing. His daughter, one of his granddaughters, it's either a niece or a granddaughter from the last story that we did. She spoke about it, and she said that Eisenhower definitely talked to these particular aliens. She said he shared the story with her. So what are we seeing here? See, there's always some cover up and some smoke and mirrors when it comes to talking about aliens and the government. I don't know why. I don't know what you're hiding. Again, grain of salt, open mind. We're just talking here like adults, right? And we're speculating on the what ifs. Let me ask you guys a question. Would you dare want to be the people that were abducted in these experiments? They even had a name for a treaty, but it's in the other video that I did. They had a treaty which the aliens violated. They took millions, but when they were told to stop, they continued anyway. So there's something sinister. There's a sinister element to that as well. So there were other things going on. And this stuff is documented. There was a page that I saw, but I didn't get to touch on it too much. But I touch on a lot of things. And again, thanks to the fan base, and you guys are great as you are. I really appreciate all that you guys do. But I wrote a book called Skyhammer that's talking about the Nazca lines, the Peruvians. It's the cover may look like a comic book, but it's not, of course, because it's sci-fi, but it's based in fact and logic. Okay, so I'm confused. I don't know what you guys think, man. Make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe to this, because you guys are great. You guys are making these things happen. I'm going to keep on pushing these books and this work. And when these books take off, because they will, because I'm just that determined, and I won't stop. I won't stop till I make it happen. And you guys are going to be along for the ride. And you can say, hey, I was there when he took off. I was there. Right? But those are the great things about what we're seeing. And this is the book. Skyhammer. That's the book. And you can get that on right now, I believe right now you can get it on Nuke, and I know you can get it on Kindle. So download that, man. It's great read. It's part of the Destiny versus Chaos series, right? It's the second installment, and it's the most polished work because it's my second piece of work. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this edition of Would You Dare. Remember, you guys, if you happen to work late at night, I'm going to reverse this. Make sure that you check under your cars. Check inside of your car. Because you're working late into the day and there's limited visibility. And when you get home, check your closets, check your whole house, because you never know what's waiting in the dark, lurking, attempting to make you a story. And until next time, you guys fill in the rest.